I'm going to talk about online video advertising, and I guess what I'm trying to talk about is initially how can we have an equivalence between the television advertising that takes the billions of dollars that Paul talks about and sort of recreate that online. And I guess sort of Ted and the guys from TVN have shown how you can go a lot further than that. I want to start by focusing on that sort of base level equivalence, and then the internet can provide a lot more interactivity for people as well. So why use online video advertising? I think like any great argument, you need to speak to both the head and the heart. And if we start with the emotional side and start thinking about sort of online advertisements or online advertising, some people will start thinking about that ad on the left there. Now, not all online adverts look like that, but probably there are too many that actually do. And then if you ask people to think of a video advert or a TV commercial, they'll probably think of something like this. I think we sort of instinctively feel that that advert is a lot more compelling, and Mark has actually taken us through the figures that show that will have a better impact for your brand and for your campaign. So if we move on to the rational side, and again, Mark stole my chart, but I'm going to put it up here again. And so we have put some reach curves here, and this is actually this is a 4+ reach curve for men 25 to 44. And so the yellow line is the reach that you'll get by advertising solely on television. And then the blue line is when you combine online pre-roll and TV in combination with that. And what I might just do is focus in on that 60% reach level and actually look at the TARP difference between those two levels. So I haven't saved quite 35% here, but again, for an advertiser reaching that audience, a 50 TARP saving could be $40,000. And if you're trying to build that reach every month for 12 months, then very quickly you're saving $500,000 every year by using online video as part of your broadcast advertising, which for me is a very rational way of going about things. So is all online video advertising equal? And I've put this slide up here to illustrate the point. Now, this ad in the right certainly has sort of video within it. It may have been sort of playing automatically when someone came into that page. They may have had to click in order to initiate the sound. And this is why I talk about an equivalence between television advertising as the base level that what we look for our clients. And I think that when we start talking to people about buying video advertising, a lot of people will sort of use the phrase sort of premium opportunity, and they'll want to charge you more money for doing that. And so I think advertisers need to think about what premium means to them. What kind of formats and advertising do they want to be running? And we think about that in 4 key areas. So the first one is the content that you're running in front of. So is your advertising run in front of professionally produced content? Is it journalistic content from brands that people recognize as well? Are you gaining from that association? Now, user-generated content could be very relevant for some campaigns, and there are lots of dogs on skateboards online. And if you're going to run your advertising in that environment, you probably just want to understand that you shouldn't have to pay the same amount. If somebody hasn't put the same money into producing the content, you shouldn't have to pay the same amount to appear in front of it. And the other element where you can buy video in front of is games and social environments as well. And again, is that what you want in terms for your campaign, or do you actually want to appear in front of actual video content as well? So the next one is where your advertising is running within the video that people are watching. So you can buy pre and mid and post rolls, and some people will make the argument that a mid roll, when it's in the middle of video that people are actually engaging with, is going to be more effective for your brand. And again, I think people want to make their own decisions, and even if you're buying a post roll, that could be effective for you, but you want to ensure that you're paying less for it. And you're also looking at the completion rate of your ad to see whether it is actually valuable and whether people are seeing it. Autoplay is quite a fundamental question in terms of, are you happy with people coming to a page and video playing automatically? Or do you want your advert only appearing in front of content where the user has clicked to play that content, and that's when they're seeing that ad. And again, that choice will affect the price that you pay for video online. And then the video player itself. So does that sit in the middle of the page? Is it the sole focus? Does it contain the professionally produced content? Or is it an ad format around other content that sits on the page? So this next slide around key suppliers is the most dangerous one for me to put up, because there's plenty of people in this room that I can offend. And I'm never going to get a list of everybody that you can buy online video advertising from. And if I have missed anyone out or misrepresented you, then please come and speak to me so that next time I do something like this, I don't do it again. So I think about people in these sort of major categories. So you have the TV networks, the people who have either partnered with online publishers or have their own websites and destinations, and they will show either catch-up TV content, or they might have a library of shows that people can watch on demand, or they may create extra content around the shows that they're filming, and people can watch the behind-the-scenes content there. You have the online specialist video suppliers, and sort of YouTube is absolutely dominant within this market. I think sort of 9.5 million Australians go to YouTube every month and watch thousands and thousands of hours of video. And I think there's a couple of channels within YouTube, as an example, that are worth pulling out. So Vivo, with a lot of music content with a large audience, Machinima content around gaming, which has a massive audience both overseas and here in Australia. And then we have traditional digital publishers who have been adding video to the content they've gone online, and Fairfax started leading this in about 2 or 3 years ago in terms of adding video reports to their news, and we've seen sort of news come into this space as well. And then sort of vertical publishers in areas like sport. So for example, Perform, there's a great content area that leads itself to producing video content. And when you have that content being consumed by an audience, that creates an advertising opportunity. So video ad networks, I think the fundamental difference for me between television advertising and online video advertising is that if you put one ad in the X Factor, then that one ad will be broadcast out, and it will reach sort of 1 million or 1.3 million people at exactly the same time. In order to achieve the same reach online, you have to deliver that ad at least 1 million times individually. And there's very few bits of content or websites which you can just use one website and reach that 1 million people. So in order to get those kind of audiences you're looking at, you need to aggregate across a number of different sites, across a number of different pieces of content. And that's what video ad networks can provide for you. And they might sort of represent individual channels or content areas, or they might represent a wide number of sites. So the final area I want to talk about is buying tools and DSPs. And for me, the demand-side platforms in the video space are there to give advertisers or their agencies the chance to sort of manage that aggregation of audiences themselves. So tools like Adapt TV and TubeMogul will help people select a number of different sites where they want to deliver their video advertising, and then also help control the frequency of the campaign, and also select the kind of the targeting that we talked about around content and autoplay. So start to ask about how can you buy video advertising, or how are you paying for video advertising? So I'm thinking about a couple of things here. And the first is what it is that you're actually buying. So whether you're buying an impression, which is your ad starting to play on the page, or whether you're actually paying for a view, which is somebody having seen all of your advertisement or the first 30 seconds of your content. So that's what you're buying, and then how are you paying for it? So whether you're paying for that on a fixed price, or whether you prepared to let the price fluctuate if you're buying in the exchange space. So if you're talking about a fixed CPM impression buy, that would be the equivalent of going to the likes of Yahoo and 9MSN and buying within their video section. And then there are a couple of suppliers who will sell you cost per view on a fixed basis. So you can do that through both YouTube and AdoTube. If you want to go into the AdWords space, you can buy the YouTube TrueView product on an auction basis. And then the likes of Adapt TV and TubeMogul enable you to go into exchanges and set the price that you're willing to pay. And that might mean your price goes up and down depending on demand, or if there's particular audiences that you want to reach, you might be prepared to pay more to guarantee you put your advert in front of those people. So I've started to talk about how we target online advertising, and I've thought about it in a number of ways. So you might be interested in running on a particular site, so you might want to go to the 9MSN video section and deliver all of your advertising there. You might want to be targeting a particular show or piece of content, and the challenge with that is that you'll find it hard to reach a really large audience or get a large volume of advertising away. So in order to get around that, you might start looking at verticals. So buying an aggregation of content with a similar theme. So that could be entertainment, lifestyle, sport, news, and that enables you to reach a wider audience with your advertising. Okay. And I guess if you are transitioning from a broadcast advertising model, you might be very used to buying advertising against specific audiences, and you might decide you want to target your advertising that way. So you might be trying to reach women 25 to 54. And you can buy that either based on sort of registered user targeting, or you can look at tools like Nielsen and ComScore and find which sites and suppliers can give you a large percentage of that audience so that you can run your campaign against them. And then the final area is if you have built up cookie pools that you are interested in delivering advertising to, either based on people who have come to your website or people who have interacted to your advertising, you might want to use the demand-side platform tools to buy advertising specifically against those audiences, and you may be prepared to pay more in an auction environment. So how do I ensure my brand is safe online? I guess television advertising mostly is a very, very brand-safe environment, and you have very traditional brands who are very, very comfortable with that. So I think online advertising needs to acknowledge that and look at how we provide that sort of confidence to these advertisers who are sort of currently very happy with how they're investing their money. And there are two elements for me that online video advertising needs to satisfy, so transparency and technology. And by transparency, I think that we'll see online video advertising, even when you're buying within networks, even when you're buying within the exchange space, I think it will give people transparency of where that advertising is running at the URL level. And people will be able to see before the campaigns run exactly which sites they're going on. And at the end of a campaign, they'll get a list of the URLs where the campaign has actually appeared and see the delivery against those. And I think that's the level of transparency that we need in order to bring the investment that we want to into online video. The other element is technology. So there are pieces of technology like AdSafe, AdExpose, Peer39, which are there to help brands and agencies have confidence that online advertising or online video advertising is running in the right way. So that might be that that ad is actually appearing on the URL that you expect it is appearing on. It might be by scanning the content of the site and ensuring that it's linked to the vertical that you think it is, or it might be identifying inappropriate content or inappropriate sites and blocking your advertising from appearing in those environments. So I'm wrapping up with 5 steps to planning online video. And the first piece is around allocating budget to online video. And sort of what I'm just introducing is a really quick rule of thumb that might help you understand how you want to deliver that advertising or how you want to select the budget you'll spend. So what I've done here is I've put some traditional TV buying demographics up on the screen. And what we've done is sort of similar to Mark's work. We've actually categorized them into light and medium and heavy. And as a rule of thumb, these are kind of the numbers that we would start with in terms of the percentage of your broadcast budget that you're going to spend in online video depending on that audience. And I think that will change over time, and it may change based on your campaign objectives, but as a very rough starting rule of thumb, this is a good way of understanding how much I should be spending in online video depending on who I'm trying to reach with my advertisement. Next, determine what premium means to you. So you need to make those decisions about the content that you want to appear against, where your advertising runs, are you happy with autoplay or not, and sort of what size of video player you want, and are you comfortable with your video running in standard display formats as well. We can then go on and select your sites and targeting using the methods I talked about, delivering your activity, and I'm sure Luke would like you to do that with MediaMind. And then the final piece is around measuring the delivery of your campaign. And there's sort of one way that I wouldn't measure the delivery of the campaign, and two things that I think are really important. So sort of outside of Ted's direct response example, I don't think actually clicks are a valuable form of measure for online video advertising. They don't represent the brand success that you're looking for, like awareness or purchase intent. So if we're talking, what are the two important things that you should measure when running your video campaign? I think it's important to measure the completion rate of the video that you're buying to be confident that people are getting to the end of the advert that you're paying for. And the other thing that I think you need to measure is the reach that you're delivering against not only all people, but the specific target audience. And I think it's very important that you're measuring that not using cookies, but actually measuring your reach against real people, so we start to have a comparison with television delivered reach and online video delivered reach.